Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Finance Committee, June 5th, 2026. I call this meeting to order. This day, what we're here for is the Finance Committee's responsibility to look at the mayor's proposal and then make a final recommendation to the full commission. Before we get started, tomorrow is the anniversary of D-Day, and every year, sometimes the meeting fell on June 6th. Commissioner Collins had the opportunity to visit there, so we always take a few minutes to moment of silence to recognize all those who gave for us. So we'll do that. Then we'll go into a pledge. Commissioner Slater will lead us in a pledge, and then Commissioner Collins will lead us in prayer. Commissioner Collins, we're just getting word. Many of us worked with and Mayor with Sandra Knight, and she needs our prayers. I just got a message that I just showed you. If you'll remember her, I'd appreciate that. If you would, please stand for a moment of silence to remember those who served for us. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Pray. Your word tells us, great is your mercy, especially over the night. Pray for favor. Give us wisdom, business.
Amen. Thank you. I think last Finance Committee the other day, we had one person. Now we got a few more. How about that? I want to recognize Sheriff Lawson, General Hatchett, and Gayla. I say Gayla Miller. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you. So our agenda today, we have some things we have to do, some house cleaning stuff for the current budget, the true ups we call them. Then we'll get into the 26-27 budget. So with that, the item up there, I apologize. Let me back up a little bit. Mayor Davis, it has a report from the mayor. Usually on this day we don't, but if you have anything.
That's right. On this date, we don't. Just happy to be here.
Okay.
If you believe that.
Well, I'm happy you're here too. So next we're going to the true ups. That's what we call basically the end of the year amendments for the current budget. Caleb got them to us last night. Members, if you'll look at the pages here, and we got these last night. And basically what this does is it balances out the accounts and the lines throughout the funds on the revenue side and the expense side. He has the general fund revenue first, then he has the general fund 5 through 11, and then all the special funds in one package there. So we're going to take those up in 3 motions, and once you have ready, we'll take the first motion to adopt the first true up or the first budget amendment. Very good. I have a motion from Commissioner Alford on the general fund, page 3 and 4. Do I have a second? I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any discussion? Caleb, I'll just ask you one out of this, the general fund, were there any accounts that went over their appropriations?
The only two accounts that went over was the inspection line, and that was due to insurance bills being higher than we budgeted.
Inspection line, okay.
And then EMS went over, and I'll let Adam explain on that one.
EMS on your, okay.
So we've had the conversation already,
Yeah.
but I'm happy to do it publicly. Essentially, what we did earlier in the year was overhire several positions to be able to staff convalescent trucks, which is largely the reason we have so much additional revenue. We are poised to finish about $1 million over our projected or our budgeted revenue for this year, and that's largely because we were able to go after those calls. So the money's coming from our additional revenue. So the question would basically be, are you comfortable spending $375,000 to make $700,000? And I think that's a good deal for the taxpayers.
So basically, the overage is gonna be compensated by the increase on the revenue side. So, so what's the difference between the two? So the overage,
It's,
so the revenue's up here, revenue's here, there's a difference between the two. that would
revenues went
be-
up about $1 million, and then we're gonna hit it for 392.
392, call it fourth.
Yeah.
So basically 600 on the S side.
Yeah.
So it's a good problem to have if you wanna call it that. Commissioner Alford, please.
Adam, is a lot of that revenue increase due to the the convalescent vans, or where's that coming from, basically?
It's largely because of the convalescent vans, yes, sir.
And we're getting 2 more, right?
Our call volume has relatively been the same the last 2 years, so I can't attribute it to increased call volume. I will say that we haven't had an increased call volume in those convalescent calls, so that and the fact that because of the additional staffing, we've been able to take more of those calls. There was a period of time where we were turning a lot of those calls down, not taking them at all, and so we've really turned the corner there. I think last month we only turned away 4 of those calls, which is incredible compared to where we were even just 12 months ago.
Do you have any idea or estimate on how that convalescent van is saving money on our regular ambulances? Have y'all
Saving
done
money?
anything to look into that, or saving wear and tear and money on those things?
I mean, with every one of those vans that we put on the road, it's one more vehicle that does not have to take the convalescent call, one more ALS or 911 ambulance. So while we may not have the 12 or 13 911 ambulances that studies say Bradley County needs, we also are very rarely ever in the position, I've heard this before, where we've only got 5 ambulances running. That's not the case. We average about 7 or 8, sometimes more during the day. But as far as saving money, it would be hard to track that at this point, but I can tell you that operationally, every one of those vans frees up our 911 resources to focus on 911 calls, and I think that's important.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Slater. You go, oh, I'm sorry. So the overage there was salaries, right? So in other words, that amount, it wasn't the cost of the vans, it was the salaries. So that's gonna be okay. It was just one van, 2 vans, so 2 vans with personnel brought in $1 million. Is that fair? Is that right? Okay. Yeah. Because you got 2 more that we're going to talk about here, so we'll look at that revenue. All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Moving on to the next one, pages 5 through 11. Caleb, same question. Is there any overage on those?
That's just what we talked about. It's still general fund.
Okay, very good. We have a motion to adopt the true ups as presented. We have a motion from Commissioner Hughes. Have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Going to the special funds, pages 12 through 15. There's what I call the minor, like the minor profits. You got the minor funds. They're in the back. You got them? All right. Do I have a motion to accept the true ups as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Collins. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. So this has to go to the full commission, Mayor. I think it's be on the agenda, Lori.
15.
All right, so that pretty much concludes all the administrative work for the current budget, right? Okay. All right, now we get into the mayor's proposal. Traditionally, what we do is we take a look at the revenue. And we'll start with the general fund on page 7. The mayor kind of went over this the other night. All right, Mayor, so you're projecting $47,975,992 on total revenue. Your fund balance carryover is 13,709. So that gives us 61.6. Expenses, 51.6. You got what, 346, what's that there? For total expenditures of 51,970, call it 52 million. Your reserve fund balance and your unreserved fund balance, you're projecting a 9.7 at the end of the year, so June 30th, 2027, and that puts it at a 15.9 with a total fund balance of 30.9. So I think it's worth mentioning, Mayor, that reserve there is 15%. That money's kind of quote unquote already spent in a way. I mean, can't be used for, except for those things that TC allows.
15 is what you're required, so
Yeah.
it's, meets the policy.
All right, so that's kind of where, at the summary level, what the general fund is. Any questions on that? And you see how property tax recurring and all that? All right, then we go to 111. Real quick. If you guys know the page number. All right, 111, this is the opioid. The interesting thing here, Mayor, is you have total revenue in yours at 457. And that looks like it's down a little bit from the budget request, but the budget request, I don't know where that 522 came from, but from the estimated 402, it's an increase. So with opioid money, how are you basically categorizing or counting that 457?
It's hard to tell. Opioid is up and down each year. That's the way they did the lawsuits. The budget request was done in March. In March, we were following the current year's numbers, and they didn't pan out to be so. We projected 400,000. They only sent us 253. So the 253 is what we ended up putting in the proposal. So the proposal is a much more accurate projection than the original budget request based on what came in this year.
All right, so then the expenses up to 922
Using fund balance.
using the fund balance, so,
There's a decent fund balance, and what we try, and good, it's a good thing we did it that way. What we started out doing is getting opioid money one year, starting to spend it the second year, because we never know how much is coming in. And so because of that, we build up a one-year fund balance there. But the good thing by doing it that way is we never know. There's no rhyme or reason to how much they'll send. We just one day get money. And we
Right.
get it 5 or 6 times. And this year it looks like it's going to be 253. 24-25 is 362. So that's how the state works.
so with the 922 on that side, on the expenditure side, you're hitting the fund balance, which is the right thing to do. You're gonna have 251, if you wanna call it that fund balance there, 251. I guess the question then becomes that 922, if it's recurring costs, that could put us in,
Well, it's
or if it's one-time purchases, no problem, but if it's recurring, then we better make sure that.
122 of it is one time. That's for the van. The rest of it is recurring. So next year it should be more like a 700,000 with a $300,000 fund balance and hopefully 400 something coming in again.
Then we'll be able to handle the recurring piece of it.
Should be.
All right.
It could vary.
That makes sense?
Those departments that are funded with this are not promised every year. We started up a drug court, we started up a juvenile drug court, and they know that it's based on available funding with opioid money.
So basically, if it goes the wrong way, then everybody's fully aware that there's gonna be an impact, yeah.
Yeah, but there will always be ups and downs. They told us that up front. It's over how many years? 15, 17 years, and it will not be the same every year. Some of the lawsuits are for 5 years and they pay out, some are for 15, some paid out immediately. So all of those payouts dictates the amount that we get each year.
All right, so the next ones are the law library. It's really small, a couple $100,000, and you get to the landfill. There's nothing really on the landfill. It just steady as you go with that.
You skipped library though, public library.
Public library 115. That's the one where we share with the city. So you work with the city on the 50-50 piece of it.
Right.
That's our part, but they do get a few pennies out of the tax rate.
Some may say the library went down. It did not go down, it went up. But this current year, you all pledged some one-time capital money, so that's not in there next
Yeah,
year.
and they've got another project that we'll get to, but the historical branch or something, they're doing bids on that. That takes us to the fire districts, Fund 121, 127. Total, your proposal is 6.3 on the projected revenue. The fund balance is 898, call it 900,000, and that puts us at 7.2 million on available with expenses at 6.5. So you go from 5.8 to 6.5, and the fund balance of 731, which is 11%, which is way above, well, not way above, but it meets the policy. And that's really all we're trying to do right now is meet the policy.
Right, and just so you'll know, I don't know why the policy's so low, but we have to pay payroll for fire for the first 6 months. We, general fund. That's why when you look at your reports, there's no,
I know, it just says nothing, no, they're blank all the way
there's
across.
nothing there because we're paying the payroll for the first 6 months till the revenues come in, which is proof that the fund balance should be more, but it's not.
All right, we'll dig into fire a little bit later, but any questions on the summary? Nothing? All right, so that meets policy. Then we get into agriculture. That's funded by hotel motel, so. Then we get into 128, art money. As we projected, the interest off of that has been decreasing quite a bit. You are saying fund balance beginning of the year, 2.8. Total available is 2.9. So in essence, that 2.9, what's not tied up, I mean, as you said the other night, we've got to spend 2.9 by the December 31st and receive whatever goods and services that buys.
So in my proposal, I funded things such as cop cars that can get spent quick. They verified that they can be delivered almost immediately, but we do have to have them PO'd, billed, paid for, delivered by, I'm saying December the 1st.
We'll get into your vehicles a little bit later. So that's that fund, not theory, practicality will be gone this time next year.
It's got to be gone December 31st. It'll be gone, or we'll be sending a check to the feds one way or the other. It's got to be gone. So everything that's funded in there, as soon as the budget's approved, I've encouraged them to get it ordered, get it delivered as soon as possible. If you don't, come December 31st, we will owe back whatever's not spent.
So the 500 on page 103, the 535,000, call it 536 for Hawassi, is that part of is that the utility that we split with McMinn County?
Yeah, they've been paying with other means up until now, but they've assured me that July, August, and September that will be spent.
And the vehicles that you just referred to is down at the bottom on 718. You got 964,000 for 16 vehicles. Is that,
Right.
am I reading that right?
Right.
You're gonna have to spend money quick. Building improvements, the jail HVAC's 284,000.
What we did there is they need.
We just bought those, didn't we?
Well, we've bought a few all along. They're only buying what, as they keep some in stock, I think it's correct to say, and when one tears up or breaks down, they have one to replace it, and then they order more. This still doesn't do the entire jail. What I did is I funded all of these other things, and the balance that was left, I put in there for locks, which is $284,000. That sounds
Oh, I
like a
see.
lot.
Okay, so 284 for your locks,
Right.
and
That's
that'll be-
just a figure out of the air to throw at it for them to order however many locks that will buy.
And then fire SCBA equipment, 270,000, and then
The 270 is radios that was requested in the MA budget, but that's radios for fire, ambulance, and sheriff's department.
all right, and we can we can spend that on there. Then the other equipment, 115,000 for, it just says other equipment.
This line is, it's the one that I hope they can get spent in time, but it's got law enforcement money in there that was requested in 210. It's got law enforcement money, 50,000 in there from 54-110. It's got data processing equipment money in there from 54-110. And then I think there's some left in the original budget for software. ARP can only be spent for one-time purchases, so some of their data processing didn't fit that category, so it's funded in both places.
All right, so did that reduce his data
Yes.
processing over in the?
I wanted to zero it, but I
account?
couldn't. I
Okay,
couldn't
good.
zero it because part of it's not
So
one
that'll be
time.
the part, this will definitely be the last time we can do that for you, all right?
Yeah.
So that's good. Real quick here, vehicles for EMS, 372,000.
That is for one van at 122,000 and for one ambulance.
So,
And those are,
so
the ambulance is on order. It'll be here in October. The van should be here by then also.
okay, because that's that $64,000 question or the $2 million questions. Can we get it? And then the last one right here is 263,000 for Bradley County Fire and Rescue, 263,000 for the fire.
That's where they requested 25,000 in turnout gear. They've got 50. That's where they requested 78 for a brush truck. They've got 156. And that's where they requested 57 for a commander vehicle.
And that was in their request, yeah.
It was in the
Yeah,
request,
yeah.
yes. We
So-
doubled the brush
So that
truck.
pretty much funds almost everything that he asked for.
That it
On the
does
equipment
fund
side.
everything. Everything at the fire department, equipment-wise, is either on order or in this budget. Everything. Plus double turnout gear, plus 2 brush trucks instead of 1.
2 brush trucks, okay.
Right.
And that is the last one, Elrod Park, 42,000 for a mower, whatever.
No, it's mower truck. They had requested, they weren't gonna get both, but we were able to do it in the ARP, so they have money for a mower and a truck replacement. And all of these vehicles, they're being asked to get the titles, sell the vehicles, and bring us a check. That's very important.
I laugh. It is important. I'm sorry.
It will
Mayor.
help next year's general fund, I promise you.
Yeah, all the equipment that you sell, I'm looking at you, it's coming back to him, right? Okay.
Hopefully, like on cars, I don't care what cars they sell, but with 16 new ones, they bring 16 amounts to us. Hopefully, they sell more than that when you consider all of the wrecked ones and so forth, but at least there's 16 being replaced on the street, so.
I'm gonna ask you, Sheriff, when you sell those, however you do, how long does it usually take to get those off your? I mean, you put them on what, eGov or something, and
Yes, but what we have is, and the mayor's right, we have some other things to sell. So, I've told them inside the office, 1 for 1 on the 16 cars we're getting, to make a list and let me see it. And I wanna know what car goes in, what car comes out. And then we have some other older cars that's been backed up that we're gonna sell, which that same monies will go the same place. So you'll be able to probably get more money in than we thought we would. So we're gonna be selling a lot of stuff that will go back to the car line or the general fund.
To the general fund. So
Yes.
you're gonna purchase equipment from ARP and you're gonna sell equipment and go to the
That's
general
key.
fund.
That's a key point. We're buying with ARP money. We're selling the old ones, putting it in the general fund. Now, it is not budgeted. Such an unknown, we didn't budget, but hopefully there'll be a good figure that will get added into the budget this next year as revenue of selling. You know, there's lines in there for, selling
Right.
equipment.
So I guess my question is, are you counting on his selling revenue for anything that you're
No.
gonna?
No,
so
that
it's icing on
revenue
the
isn't
cake,
in
so to
there at
speak.
all.
That'll be in addition to, and I think there's
Right.
gonna be more.
So it's
what it is
icing
than
on the
I
cake,
thought.
all right. The next one, finishing up here, is juvenile building improvement. I guess, Judge Morgan's 100,000, he was talking about the other day.
Yeah, he has 100,000 in the budget for that project that's carried over from this year. He'll be asked to spend this first, which will actually give him 200, but spend this first. If he doesn't spend all of the second 100, that's okay, that's in the general fund. But we ended up having money in ARP to throw toward that project. And I don't have a total cost on the project because it goes pretty far out there, but this will at least get through a couple of the phases. I think it's 3 phases.
So obviously the question is, can he get that done by December 30th? I mean, so
Yes.
you would want to spend this money before he spends his money.
Right, he'll be told to get on it, send us the bills, and we'll pay for it out of ARP.
Very good. So the last one there is 18,000 over, that's the Cleveland State, that's the tuition scholarship thing. So this will be
That
the
is
last year of
for,
that.
2 scholarships, plus you committed to 10,000 a year.
Yeah, you got it right there. That takes care of the ARP, and this will be the last year of that money.
Definitely, that's for sure, and it's been a great thing. Only good thing Biden did, but it was a great thing.
The only good thing Biden did. All right, roads will be here later, so we'll, but, because they submitted an addition to their budget request or something we saw. They recognized another million or something, but she's gonna come here later on that one, and explain that. That takes us to 141, that's schools, we already chatted with them. And it takes us to, should be 151 next.
Page 142.
Thank you. And the summary, the pieces, the summation pieces on 143. So, you're projecting 8.9 on revenue, a fund balance coming over at 13. That takes us to 22.2. And this is what we talked about Monday night, that we're going from 9.7 to 6.6 on principal and interest for the year, which is a great thing. And that takes your fund balance to 15.9. So your fund balance is extremely healthy on that one.
That's true. And it grows by $3 million, and I would hope that after the budget's approved, you'll come back and amend it by roughly $3 million and pay down debt with it.
I'd like to do it now. I know you don't.
It would be simpler if you would prove it like this and then do it as an amendment, but whatever.
Because we have enough to pay it off now.
Well,
What's the negative of paying it off and budgeting to pay it off? I'm just, in other words, the ESG is what I'm going after.
how much is the ESG balance?
Lori, did I forget
Roughly.
to ask you that?
I mean, you can make that change if that's what you
Well,
want to do. Let's
if
say
there's
it's,
I don't want to hurt the budget, but if there's a
No.
good reason why to wait till September, because we have to make that payment in November, right?
right, you've got till November anyway. You might save a month or two of interest that we're paying ourselves, but that would be
Oh,
the
I
only
see what you're saying.
benefit.
Okay. So Lori, when you get a second, if you'll send an email over to Deborah and ask what the final payoff on ESG.
You gave me those numbers before, so I have them somewhere, but I don't have them in front of me. The ESG one and the other one, but
What was the other one? A Spring Branch is being paid out of 172.
true. You might pay off the one you just borrowed.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Mhm.
No, don't go there. All right, I'm just joking.
Money
All right,
collected.
So, but the
Yeah.
ESG, if we can knock that one out, because that was one of the original ones.
That would be good. And we can, I think. I don't believe it's too big.
All right, so
I lost my train of, I know what I started to say. This fund balance this is where you've taxed the citizens for debt. So it can only be used for debt, or they did give in and say it can be used for capital. So if we turn around and use it to pay off debt, then it's use of it, but we can't convert it to salaries. It was collected for debt. It has to be used for debt or capital.
yeah. So in September, we'll look at the ESG and see where we are and knock that out.
That
You
would
know,
be the easiest way to do it, and it's only a month or two of interest, and keep in mind that interest we're paying ourselves, so we're saving,
Well,
but we're not saving.
when we
so-
pay it off, we're paying HCI in a way, right?
Right.
All right, so that's that on 151 on our debt. So we have reduced our debt according to the audit. We're in like the low 40s, 40 million. We started at 89 million, and we've been paying off over the years. So the more we can pay off on debt, the better.
Sure.
Especially the ones that are considered loans. 172. This is the one we're going to have a little chat on. On page 145, hotel motel tax. You're saying total revenue 600,000. Am I right? And you have a fund balance of 1.1 million, total available of 1.7, and 922. Am I reading this right, Mayor?
Right, 922 is the expense.
Right, and their fund balance will be at 855 if all goes well, according to your projection. All right, so what's obviously new is patient charges of 165. The asterisk there means you're gonna take that over two budgets. Obviously, 165 will cover that. But my question is, why not put this transaction in 189? Let patient charges fund 189 and pay for the van out of 189.
You could, the only reason I didn't do it that way is this fund has a $1.1 million fund balance. It's an easy place to get the money from, and it leaves 189 to be 100% education. It's just a preference. I prefer to leave 189, my so-called slush fund. I prefer to leave it 100% education and do it out of the community development, which is a proper place, and it has plenty of money, but it also will be paid back with the additional revenue. Adam will be supposed to make some deposits into the 172 fund that we're projecting to be about, reason it takes 2 years is he won't get going until about halfway through the year. But it's a preference. You could do it the other way. There's no reason not to.
Well, the reason I ask is in the resolution that funded all that stuff, we funded Hopewell and then the 1.8 million, and then we put 150,000 there for other stuff. And usually it's been cars out of that. But if patient charges is going to cover the cost, it really doesn't matter, right?
True. So, it's fine.
All right. So what,
It doesn't, if it had been done the other way, it would be fine, and this way's fine too, so it's just a preference thing.
just 172 has the hotel motel tax in there, and I don't want anybody to think that we're using hotel motel tax, which is for our tourism, our roller boat and all that.
A lot of our hotel motel tax goes in general fund, so I don't think it's all for tourism.
Well, it goes over there, but That's
It's n-
because of the private act.
It's not an improper place to borrow it from. We're not taking it, but we're borrowing it. But again, it's up to you.
Well. All right, so we'll go to 189. We'll come back to that. 189, like you just said, it has also increased quite a bit. Where's the summary at? So fund balance beginning is 6.9. I'm sorry, let me back up. 3 million is what you're going to project as far as current the property tax now. Fund balance coming in at 6.9 for a total of 10 million, and we're going to spend 7.5 with a 2.4 fund balance, and it doesn't have a policy, so it doesn't.
No, it's all capital, and
And
that
that's
has
all basically Hopewell and
Track.
1.8.
Hopewell and Track. And the fund balance has been building on purpose to pay for these school projects.
Yeah,
And again, it's capital money, cannot be used for salaries. So it's been building to pay cash for a $15.6 million school project.
and she's projecting that she's going to bring 5.6 over sometime throughout the year for that Hopewell.
And it'll go into a fourth year, and right now it looks like about 2 million more. 2.3 million probably will be in next year's budget. It'll be according to how much they spend this year, but 5.6 is what they're projecting. That came from schools.
So that raises a question on the, you told us the other night that prior commissions or whatever agreed that the interest from other funds would all be, except for the art money and those right there, but interest from the other funds would go as a revenue into 189. So with this amount right here, and if she's not going to use it, that's going to create some interest for 189, quite a bit.
True.
Yeah.
The unspent turf track money this year did that, for example. But yeah, the longer it takes her, the more time we have to draw interest on it. Your policy on interest is half goes to 189, half goes to general fund, except for things like ARP.
Yeah.
ARP, opioid, seems like there's another one, but most all of it goes 189 and general fund.
All right, so that's the, that basically covers all of the funds and the policies. All of the fund policies are adhered to. We don't need to, we don't need to change any policies or anything like that. Yet. All right, any questions, Commissioner Slater, Commissioner Alford, Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Hughes, on all the fund balances, revenue, expenses, and fund balance percentages? Because that's what the auditors look at. All right. Kind of went over the minor funds right there. So now we go over back to the general fund. On the expense side, all right, started on page 8 there. So real quick, Mayor, I think you, if memory serves correct, the beer board, in order to do anything for them, we got to do that by resolution. All right.
But if you so choose.
All right, we'll take care of that later. Yeah. All right. So getting into the Fund 101, obviously the number one thing that came out of the budget request was salaries. Your proposal is a 6% increase for their first responders and 3% across the board for pretty much all the others, with one or two exceptions, I think, or right?
Is that a question? Yes.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
what I did is I did 3% across the board for all employees, and then once we got through the entire budget, what was left, I threw at emergency services, which ended up being another 3%, 3.9% for most of them. So that ended up being the proposal.
And I did notice, some of the accounts have part-time line items, and you kept those pretty much the same. So I guess that's the policy on those. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, I'm just, they're the same as.
Some lines have money built in to address whatever ends up being the commission's will, some don't. It's usually not a problem. If you're talking about huge increases, it will become a problem because those are the people probably that deserve it as much as anybody. The lady that mops the floors is a hardworking person, makes peanuts, has no benefits. And if you're going to give huge increases, people like that ought to be included, in my opinion. But
All right, so I was just wondering why that was on there. So with salaries being the top priority, and let's kind of back up because I think it's important everybody know. The reason why ARP you were able to do your proposal the way with ARP with the federal money is because VEC, who we allocated, is basically can't get it spent by, and it's not their fault. It's bureaucracy, like you wouldn't believe, with the state.
yeah, the state grants have held them up tremendously.
Yeah.
They did get awarded a huge state grant recently that we had money there to match, but they're not going to be able, contract's still not signed, they're not going to be able to have it and have the fiber ordered in time to install and pay by our deadline. So they said they would go ahead with the grant without the match. That's fine. So we ended up spending 2.8 million, I believe, instead of the 4 million that you committed. And that unspent broadband money is what moved into these other categories to buy the cars and so forth.
So we were able to really buy a lot of equipment that we kind of didn't know until VEC notified us that they weren't going to be able to spend it all.
Right.
So overall, I think this is important as well for broadband. When we first got the money, the 22, we spent about 12 million. I mean, what was the total amount that we spent or allocated for broadband?
4 million.
Millions of dollars.
It was 4 million that we committed, but it was all to match grants, which made it multi-millions. You're right. We did a lot of 50-50, and we did a lot of some 90-10. See, where we matched $1 million, it was actually a $10 million grant, so there was millions of dollars of broadband that went in. We were only funding our portion. But with this last grant, there's still a lot of broadband not done out there, but they will have most of it covered with this next grant. But we just won't be matching it, and they're okay with that. So.
Yeah, so I mean, there's still grant money that's going to go out through the years.
Right.
It's just
The federal and state has lots of grant money for broadband.
But
It's
let it
just
be
very
known
slow.
that we did allocate quite a bit of money for broadband. It's just the bureaucracy and
Yep.
got in the way. I mean, so be it. So that's kind of what happened with that, and why we can spend as much money on equipment in the current or the next budget. And you can't spend ARP on salary, so equipment seems to be the logical thing to spend it on. And you can't reduce debt with it.
Right.
Right. All right. So with salaries being the number one, there's been, I guess, some conversations about increasing salaries, and I'll just open it up to the members of the commission on their thoughts on where you want to go, accept the mayor's proposal or make some edits and some changes. Commissioner Slater, please. Commissioner Hughes.
So, Mayor, I appreciate the work that you've put into your proposal and to your budget. And while I think 6% for first responders is a good start, I don't think that's enough for us to continue to retain the people that we have today. So I want to talk just a little bit about some numbers related to fire and what the seniority numbers tell us. 51% of the workforce of our fire department has less than 5 years of seniority. This reflects a department that is in a continuous recruitment and training mode because it can't retain people long enough to build seniority. Without competitive pay, this cycle continues indefinitely. And the same stands true for the sheriff's department. 28% of the fire department has between 5 and 12 years of seniority. The core operational backbone, fully certified, fully productive, and exactly the employees neighboring departments are recruiting every day. Same with the sheriff department. Losing 3 to 4 employees from this group can cost between $15,000 to $30,000 in replacement, training costs, plus months of reduced operational readiness. 12 to 20 years of seniority, 22% of the workforce of our fire department. Senior leadership, lieutenants, captains, battalion chiefs, deputy chiefs, and the fire chief. These employees have the deepest institutional knowledge and highest replacement cost. They are also the most underpaid relative to the area and have the most to gain from what we could do for them. 20-plus years of seniority in our fire department. 2 employees, just 2. And I know the sheriff's department faces the same challenges. When was the last time that any of us went into a restaurant and ordered off a 99-cent value meal? Those days of eating off a 99-cent value meal have long gone out the window. If McDonald's or Wendy's or Taco Bell had continued to have a 99-cent value meal, they would be closing their doors. They too would not be able to retain talent. Food prices have increased, utilities have increased, rent has increased. None of us want to raise taxes, but we don't want to continue to lose our first responders to other areas. A 99-cent value meal today would cost you between $1.80 and $2. And our tax rate is 99 cents. I think we are the 3rd lowest in the state of Tennessee, 3rd or 4th. That's something to be proud of on one hand, but I don't think it's something to be proud of when we continue to lose first responders, EMS, and people from the sheriff's department every day. And it's not just those, it's all Bradley County employees. Not, while the work is different, all Bradley County employees should be able to work for the county and make a fair and livable wage, in my opinion. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that number is, but I do believe it's something more than 6 and 3%.
Thank you, Commissioner Slater. Commissioner Hughes, did you have anything? Did you? Yeah. Any others? Commissioner Alford, Commissioner Collins?
Ms. Slater, do we have a figure in mind you were talking about?
I
or-
don't. I don't. I don't.
Have we put any figures together as to what each one would affect? Because I agree with you. I'm on the same page you are on that. We got to do something. And
I have not personally put numbers together to look at that.
I did some homework on that. We know that in the general fund or outside of fire, because we have basically 3 tax rates. The countywide penny brings in about 500,000, 503 to be exact. So if we want to do more across the board or however we structure it, basically take the amount that we want to increase and divide it by 500,000, and that'll be how many quote unquote pennies have to be adjusted on the tax rate. So, for example, if you wanted to do, if we said like a 10% or 15% increase, you take that number that we've calculated and divide it by that 500,000, and that would tell you what the new tax rate should be with that in the countywide fund. I think we did some calculations. We did do some. So a 15%.
No, I think, let me be clear, I think you did some. I haven't done any.
Okay, apologize. I say we.
No, we have
It's
not.
those pronouns that get you in trouble sometimes. Won't
Yeah,
they?
let's be clear on that.
Let's be very clear. I did it. We. 15, all of the 100 lines, minus the 101, Mayor, you said the other night, the elected officials, which is 101 and 102, are state mandated for the most part. So we included those. All right, Lori, where did I put that?
While you're looking, can I say something?
Please.
First of all, correction on that last statement. The sheriff's salary's minimum is state mandated, not the salary. That's not what the state says to pay him. That says that's the least you can pay him based
I
on
was just
state
going
law.
by what's in the budget.
And the least, which is 2.5%, is what's in the budget. I don't disagree with anything that Ms. Slater said, but 2 months ago I gave you all the opportunity to tell me how much you were going to do. The talk was you wanted to do huge raises. So I said, tell me how much revenue I have to work with. No one would give me that answer. You wanted me to be the bad guy so you could ride in on the white horse and be the savior. If you'd have told me how much tax raise you were going to give me then, I would have plugged it into the budget and it would be before you today. But without doing that, all I can do is balance a budget with revenues that I have, which I have done. I didn't ride the white horse in because I wasn't given the additional revenue.
And I don't think it's about riding a white horse in.
I do.
Well, I respectfully disagree with you. I think it's about what's doing the best for our employees of Bradley County.
Tell me that before the election. Oh, it was the election? That's the reason you didn't want to tell me? You didn't have an
Nope.
opponent. Why didn't you tell me that before the
Mayor.
election?
Mayor,
I
I'm not
would've
going to
plugged it
argue
in.
with you about this.
Mayor,
Mhm.
we didn't know the growth numbers at that time either.
Oh,
The-
baloney.
But, so if we did a 15% across the board, and there's some caveats to that, those that are 75, currently 75, make them 12% increase. That would put us at 3.6 million. So you take the 3.6 million divided by 500,000. Sorry, we gotta do a little math here. Caleb, if you, I know on your, but check my math because you're the finance director. 3.6 with a $500,000 per penny, is that about a 7-cent tax increase? 7.1. So a 7.1, that'll take us from 99 cents to 106 and some decimal points, because we have to take it out to the fourth digit. Will bring everybody in Bradley County up to 15%, unless you're at 75,000, then it'll be 12% on that. So that, Commissioner Alford, is the numbers we crunched. So basically a 7-cent tax increase or a 7-cent adjustment from the 99 to 106 and some change gives everybody in Bradley County in the general fund or countywide a 15% increase. So that's the decision that we need to talk about and see if we want to make that recommendation. Fire, we'll get to in a second. Sorry. Commissioner Alford and Commissioner Hughes.
No, you just answered the question I was asking. I was going to ask if that is including the fire tax, or is that just,
Fire is their own fund. There's actually two fire tax rates because of the two districts, which, Mayor, I think, well, hit a little tangent, definitely consolidate those next year.
I wish you would, when you do a fire tax increase, you would tell us to balance it so you'd have one rate, but that's up to you.
Well, what we
'Cause
don't
right now,
want,
you've got two rates.
yeah, we'll get to that in a second. And I don't mind doing that. It's just, because they're two districts, when they do reappraisals, one grows at one rate, the other one grows at another, and then we'll be back right where we were. So make it one district, but that's another thing. Commissioner, we answered your question. Commissioner Alford, please. Were you?
We're looking at your figures and thinking ahead next year and the following year and the following year and the following year. and looking at the BAST, I've been on this commission going on 19 years now. And I think maybe in the 19 years, we've had one tax increase. Maybe wrong, might have been two, but I think it's only one. I think it's time that we look at trying to take care of our people. And with that, I'd like to make a motion that we go 15%.
15%. All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Alford to increase the salary lines by 15%. And the other part of that, Commissioner Alford, is those that are over 75,000, it'll be a 12% increase.
Yes, sir.
And, all right, so do I have a second on that?
I'll second that for
Well,
discussion.
second that for discussion. So we have a motion, we have any discussion on the motion from Commissioner Alford and seconded by Commissioner Slater? Commissioner Slater, please.
So I want you to state again what you're talking about employees that make over $75,000.
So we were just,
Not we, because I wasn't a part of that.
okay, when I say we, we're all one big happy family, I thought. So I was looking at those who are 75 and then doing some calculations, and that was going to put them, it also helps with some of the numbers at the time. I mean, when you start getting into some of these numbers, you're talking millions, where you get into like fine tooth, like, 1,000 here, 4,000 here. So the 12%, I think we had 19 employees that are over 75.
Is that salary employees?
That's
Or
a
is
good
that
question.
hourly employees that make over $75,000?
Yeah, I think everybody, Caleb helped me out there. I hate to put you on the spot, but when we talked about almost everybody's salary, I think 12, I apologize, see.
Are they hourly or are they salary?
I think it's all salary.
Are there hourly employees that make over $75,000?
Yes.
Okay, so what would their increase be?
Hourly employees who make over 75,000.
Is it 12?
I don't know. I mean, we don't do payroll, so I mean,
I would think it'd be 12 if you're doing.
if it's a broad sense. Again, this is an idea.
I
so,
understand,
I'm glad
understand.
you're asking. I mean, we basically said in order to make the numbers work with the constraint, and I don't know how many hourly employees we have that are over. I
I'd have
apologize,
to
Caleb. I'm not trying to
research
put you
that.
on the spot. We don't get into the actual itemization of who gets paid out of lines for the most part. We have it in the budget request, but
I could figure it out, but I don't have it in front of me.
all right. So Commissioner Slater, we'll have to get back to you on
Okay,
that.
so,
I mean, but if you want to just say 15% across the board, no, don't worry about the 75,000.
no, I'm fine with the 12% if they're over 75, but I think that should include hourly employees that make over 75.
and I didn't know salary. There's nothing in there as far as a category of exempt and non-exempt when we look at it. We looked at. I say we. Sorry. In that one sheet we have, I say we that I have. You can see in the current budget that they were at 77 and 80 and all that. I didn't know whether they were exempt or not. Usually, just in general, if you're at that level, you're probably exempt or salary.
Correct. And my other question is, how will this affect fee offices?
That's a good question. Mayor, we got to come back to you on that one. So, fee offices, there's 4: the trustee, the register of deeds, county clerk, and what is
Clerk.
Holly's called?
Clerk and master.
Clerk and master. So, how would that work with the fee office? Because
Well,
that's a memorandum of understanding that you take up to the Chancellors's Court, right?
I do a letter of agreement with all fee offices, and I always match whatever you all approve. So if you approve a 15% raise, it's only fair that I do a letter of agreement with fee offices with 15% raises. You don't fund it per se because it's paid out of fees, but their fees will lower by that amount. So you will need to address that in your pennies tax increase to cover the loss of fees that they turn over. For example, if county clerk turns over $200,000 in excess fees and that goes to 50,000, that 150's got to be accounted for. So whatever the amount of that increase you're going to do needs to include them in the pennies because it will affect your revenue. They'll turn
For
in
next
less.
year.
Yeah, they'll turn in less revenue.
Yeah.
The revenue I have projected for fee offices will go down the amount of the raises.
All right, thank you. So we're gonna take a little. So on page 4. You see there, 45100, and you have county clerk, clerk and master, register, and trustees. He's, has it itemized. So county clerk, so to finish that up, Mayor, their fees, what they bring in, they're, we all know each other. Donna, county clerk, she sells license and all her stuff. She has enough. The trustee, when I was looking at his, by the way, 961. So he's definitely has enough. But that would be the line there that we would have to reduce
Right.
and then cover it with,
And then cover it with your tax rate, right?
right.
Property taxes
that's
would
how that
cover
works,
it,
Commissioner
the
Slater.
fees would go down.
So,
And you're talking about, you can do your own figuring, but you're talking about probably $500,000 for those, if you were looking at this 15%. Close to it, maybe a little less than a half.
does that answer your question, Commissioner Slater?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So that's that on that. So we have a motion and we have a second, and we're going to include the fee offices in our motion, Commissioner Alford.
Yes, definitely include the fee officers also, because we need to touch them all. If we're gonna get them, we need to hit everybody.
Yeah, I agree with Mayor and you on that.
Yeah.
And the pennies get divided up into not just general fund, but your tax rate gets divided up more than one way. Did your total include road department? Or
No.
is that the intent? You said everybody. I assume you are counting road department? Does the figure include them? I don't know.
So, and that's kind of why I was hoping they would be here. Well, they will. The road department, and I'm sure there's going to be a conversation on this. They have a couple of million, I think, in their fund balance that they could use to fund their increases, unless they wanted to spend it on something else, but they didn't put that in their budget request. So the idea is that they would have a 15% increase and fund it with their fund balance this year in the 26-27.
Is there no one here from road department?
They'll be here at 12:30.
If I could just comment on that.
Unless you wanted to spend it on something else. But them having a 30% increase or a 30% fund balance, we've always traditionally, when fund balances get to a certain point, ask the elected official or the department head to start considering using their fund balance without hurting their maintenance of effort. Because they have, the 5-year average?
So because road department has a fund balance, you're
Yes,
going to give everybody else additional money, but you're not going to give road department additional money,
that's correct.
which is probably our biggest need in Bradley County is roads. Even though he doesn't have it budgeted, that fund balance can be used to pave roads and stuff, and he will if he wants to and has the opportunity to do it. But in essence, you're going to do a raise. Right now, you're looking at 15%. They're going to have to do 15% to be fair, but you're not going to give them any additional money to do it, which means you're taking money away from roads.
But they didn't want to spend it on that.
They didn't ask for a 15% raise. No, they didn't. You're going to punish them for being realistic?
No, not gonna punish them for being realistic. Just, I took their budget request, and that's why this $1 million that they are adjusting is what That came in, what, last week? But if they were gonna spend more money on roads, their budget request didn't reflect that.
But they'll amend it throughout. If they
so,
decide to do $1 million paving,
Whether there was a tax increase or not, or tax adjustment, they basically said they knew their fund balance and they chose, in other words, they just wanted the fund balance according to their budget request and their estimates. They only wanted, excuse me, I'm sorry. According to their budget request, they were only going to spend, I'm looking at the hot mix and all that kind of stuff, the materials to do it. So in essence, they were just going to let their fund balance stay at 30. I think they had to buy a mower or something, but that was the idea. Is I get what you're saying. You want to be fair, and we do too. But if they were not going to use their fund balance, it's not unrealistic to ask them to use their fund balance for the 15% this year. We're not going to let roads fall apart. We spent quite a bit of money on ARP with them. I was going to ask them also how they're doing on their striping, because that has to be done by this year too, by the way.
they're just about through with that. I think it's all POs. The reason I don't know the exact amount.
Yeah,
but it's about all done.
I don't want to hit too many tangents. But
I don't mean to be arguing, but
no,
in
man, it's a
essence,
good conversation, because I do want to.
and
Superintendent
I don't
Collins
work
has
for the
been
road
good to us.
department, but if you don't put some pennies into theirs, you're taking money away from potential roads.
Okay,
They're their own fund. Throughout the year, they could add $1 million to their expenses with your amendment approval and do another $1 million in paving. If you don't give them the tax rate to cover these huge salaries, then you've taken away from that.
that they.
I don't know
want
where
us-
Tom's at, but if he knew this was an issue, he should be here. Of course, nobody knew, but I don't think you ought to take away from roads, and they're being forced to do the raise. Now, you talk about their budget request. They didn't request one dime in raises because your instructions tells people not to request raises.
Now, can we say
That's in your instructions. Well, they followed your instructions, but if you're going to give 15, then they've got to give 15. I don't think you ought to punish them by not giving them a tax rate to fund the 15. It'd just be it'd be a fraction of the penny, but you ought to give them that much and not take it away from their ability to fix roads. You know, all these emergency services, and you and I and all of us have to ride down those roads. Roads are very important. And we're not overfunding it, I tell you.
So sometimes it seems like we're arguing. We're not. It's just
No, we're not. I'm not arguing.
But I'm just saying, in their budget request, and that's all we get to see. You know, we didn't bring them into a budget hearing. Maybe we should. That's on me or us.
But
Their budget request, they're in 26, 27, they were not going to spend a lot of money relative to their budget on roads.
But if they were here, they would tell you.
So now they will.
They would. I don't know if everybody understands. Road budget has a lot more authority because of the uniform, whatever you call it,
Yeah.
law that's out there. And with an amendment, they can take that fund balance up and down any time, and they do from time to time.
Yeah, they're one of the few who actually comes with revenue and amends their revenue somewhere between
Yeah.
the year.
The bottom line is,
I get what you're saying.
You go into the request, they knew when they turned in that request, here's a balanced budget, you're gonna add raises to it, which we did, the 3%, and we know we've got the leeway of playing with that fund balance throughout the year. No other department has that leeway like they do. And again, I just don't think you ought to.
I don't feel like I'm punishing them. I was just looking at the numbers as they're. So let's take a look at them. We gotta get this right. I know you guys may be bored, but 131 is on page 106. They did adjust because of fuel. That's right. Because so fund balance, total revenue for the 26-27, 8.1 million. Fund balance of 4.1 million, for a total of 12 million. They're gonna spend 9.7 for a $2 million fund balance at the end of the year, well over the 7%. So that's their summary sheet, and that's a very, he's doing a fantastic job on that part. Where is that? What I was looking at. Gasoline, diesel, towing, laundry. Oh, here we go. It's in, account 62000. So, and I don't pretend to even know roads, but the little bit I do know is they need asphalt, cold mix, and hot mix. And he basically, knowing that he had a very healthy fund balance, asked in his budget request the same amount. So I'm just trying to explain to you what my thinking was with this, is that you ask for the same amount in your hot mix, 1.4 million, and you have a healthy fund balance. In other words, if I was in charge, I'd say I want to do more roads. I would say give me about 1.8 and let me use some of my fund balance, or 2 million even, and knock out some of my fund balance. But he didn't. So I just wanted you to know that's the thinking. I take what you're saying, like, there's going to be an adjustment in the tax increase when we do the resolution, and you divide out the pennies per fund. You want to increase that or keep it about, well, the value of the penny is going to go up, so you could keep it the same or adjust it as well. But I don't think we're punishing him for anything. I either made it very, very clear or totally confused everybody. So,
So you're
And-
saying not to fund his with a
well,
penny, or
yeah.
to fund his with the penny?
yeah, so your guys gonna kill me. Plus they also, what was I thinking about last night? They made interest on their fund as well, quite a bit. So I was thinking about that as well. So we're gonna have to take a break here because we're gonna have to figure out, their 100 series, and their accounts, by the way, Mayor, their 100s are all over the place. I mean, like everybody else in the general fund, you have an account, then you have 100s, and they have 100s in every single account for some reason. So,
agree.
you guys, bear with us.
I think Tom.
I apologize, Chairman Cry, please.
Let me make sure I say aye.
Oh, hi.
Okay. It would appear to me that we are selecting the road department individually as a punishment.
No, we're
Oh.
not punishing.
Well,
Mhm.
we're,
I'm just not gonna say, let
we're
people say
not
we
gonna-
punish.
I guess my proposal would be if we're gonna give a 15% increase to everyone, we should allocate the amount that they have for salary out of that 15% to the road department. They had no idea that we were gonna do this. That would lower the 15% overall by a little bit, but, I think everyone should be treated equally on the salary increase. And, I just wanted to give my view that the road department should be treated like everyone else. But I just want to make those comments.
I agree, and we will. They're very important. I mean, when we have a storm come through, they're the first ones out there, right? I mean, cleaning the roads and making sure we got all that. So absolutely, positively, beyond a shadow of doubt. I just was trying to be somewhat economical. So we're gonna have to take about a 10-minute break. Sorry? Oh, I apologize, Commissioner
Just a
Gilbert.
couple of questions. Adam, you said you was $1 million over, you will be $1 million over, right? Can that not put you on your step plan?
Okay, Commissioner Gilbert, with all due respect, we're on a motion and a second for the tax increase.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But
That's
I,
what
well, I
they were
guess that's,
saying.
that's germane to it. Please go ahead. I apologize. Adam, you understand what he's saying?
Yes, it could.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Thank you. And the other question is, you take the road department, you said it yourself, mayors, wouldn't they be, how can you get them considered to be the first responders too? Like he said, they're the first ones out there cutting the roads, cutting the trees down before anybody goes through. So that's just something I just wanted to throw out there too.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to, so
But,
if you
Mr.
got,
Chairman, before you adjourn, while you're adjourned, consider the part-time people too. If you're saying all employees, surely you consider a part-time employee an employee.
That's
Most
all.
of them are very important and save us a lot of money by being
Yeah,
part-time.
I agree with that. I agree with you, Mayor, on that.
I was just going by, remember, it's just me. What in your proposal, they have the current, what they're in, and then what you proposed was the same. So I didn't know if there was a policy on them or not. They don't obviously get health insurance and some other things. I didn't.
No.
So I wasn't trying to short our part-time. They're very valuable.
I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying I think it
Right.
might be overlooked. They are important. It's not, but a 3% raise is not a big deal. But if everybody walking down the hall is getting a 15% raise and I'm mopping the floor, it becomes a big deal. So that's all I'm saying is consider part-time people also. I
All right,
think
so-
there's gosh, I don't remember how many. There's several part-time people throughout the county, and we use them as a way of saving money because of the benefit savings and so forth. A lot of
You
people
have-
don't mind the part-time, don't need the benefits, so it saves the county money.
That's all right. How many part-time, I'm gonna ask, you have 30 part-times? I don't know. So, ladies and gentlemen, we gotta calculate this. I know you guys are like, what in the world? But, so I'm gonna put the committee in recess for about 12, well, I'll call it 15 minutes so we can go crunch some numbers on road department. So gives you guys time to go out in the hallway. Yeah. So it gives you a break here in a second. So it is
We have a motion
10:17.
on the
We'll come
floor.
back at 10:35.
We haven't
We're,
voted on anything yet.
We'll see. See how it goes. It's all good.
I can't hear you. Can you hear that?
Say, give her.
You wouldn't want to hear it, I promise. Steve, I need. This guy was missing. You know, they 60-something-year-old fella. I wasn't. I just want gonna get one. Well, I thought that was him when you walked in.
Wait a minute.
I'm
I'm gonna give
bragging,
Miss
so you
Mac.
gonna step over?
Yeah, I'm gonna give Miss Mac.
I know you don't remember. remember that? And Hamilton County had him in jail, and he found him at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Remember that?
Yeah, yeah. I remember that name.
That's him.
I just wanted, we'll all get by.
We got that. Oh, I left my book.
Cold coffee. Ain't nothing worse than cold coffee. These people.
Okey doke. Call this meeting back to order. Apologize. I forgot my book. So we did a little calculations for our friends over at the road department, and Mayor, there is gonna cost, we got 88,000. So 88 of our pennies, 500. What's that? I'll just check my math.
It's about 0.2 of a penny.
0.2 a penny? All right. So we'll have to, on the resolution, do a 0.2 to handle that. Then we're gonna have to ask them what they wanna do with that fund balance. So, members of finance and, Commissioner Gilbert and Chairman Cry, did you guys hear that number? All right. So with that, Mayor, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. It was a good discussion. Does that address I wouldn't say you were concerned about it, but I appreciate you bringing it,
you
because
figure
we
up
do
the-
want to be fair.
Did you figure up the pennies for fee offices? Did you figure up the pennies for fee offices? In other words, the revenue lost in fees has got to be put back in pennies.
You're going to hit me if I say no.
No, it's all right. I mean, it's roughly $500,000, I can tell you that, so it's roughly a penny. Right, Caleb? So that needs to be covered
But
because
that,
we,
we're going to reduce on the.
you will lower fees. You don't have to do it today, we can do it for your final version, but we will lower fees from the fee offices, but we'll increase the property tax rate to offset those fees.
Right. And we're going to assume that they are willing to go into this agreement with you. Because
You're assuming what?
when you sit down with the elected officials who run these fee offices, that they will agree to this with you. Because we don't have any say in it.
Right, it's them and I, and I would never be approving a letter of agreement with this number on it, but it's only fair to have this number on it this year, if that's
Right.
what you're doing throughout.
Okay. So the answer to your question is no, but if you'll add that in there, it'll make it.
Well, make
Once-
sure that, Lori, when you do
once
the
you-
total on cents, you have that other
Yeah.
roughly penny for that. So it sounds like you're taking the 7.1 that you have now, you're adding 0.2 to it, so it makes it 7.3, and then a penny for fee offices makes it 8.3.
Yeah.
It's roughly where you're at now, just on general.
Okay, so that's where we're at right now, and we're still in discussion. And Commissioner Hughes, you raised your hand, so you're recognized.
I did. I had a question about something. I think that under EMA, there was during their budget proposal, they had asked to have a employee put on to do grants for the county grant writer.
All right, hold on a second, let me find that account. Troy, what's your account number? I'm sorry? 541. 541. Let's go. Whoever finds the page first, let me know. That's EMS. 51. All right, Commissioner Hughes, 1 second. We'll get to page 54. I have inspections and regulations.
52. It's 52, Mom.
Okay. 52, EMA. All right, Commissioner Hughes, I got you.
Now, exactly, I'm not seeing that that's in the mayor's, was that added as part of the budget? I truly believe that if they had one, they would pay for theirself. I really believe that, deep down. I'll just ask you, was that something that was added to EMA, or I'm guessing it wasn't?
No, it wasn't. We didn't add a employee. At the time, we were trying to get all we could for raises.
It's something if we can, I don't know what the amount would be to even pay for an employee for that. I don't know what you were looking at. I can't remember.
The request is roughly 44,000.
That was what I was thinking, that we would have a base salary of 44,000 and then percentages on gains from the grants would be their entire salary.
Does that include like social security, insurance? and
No,
all
it
that?
doesn't include any benefits. That's just a base salary.
Roughly, Caleb, what would the benefits of something like that be?
Benefits for one person's 13,000, a little bit more,
So you're looking about
13.5, say.
60,000 basically. That is something I think we need to add to this. I believe it would help the county out more tenfold.
But you raised an interesting
It would help
point.
us out. I mean, I'm chasing a bunch of grants right now, and they take years to bring in. Now, one I've been chasing for 4 years is $9 million, and it's for the high school. Got another grant for $760,000 that I've been chasing for 2 years, and then for a year and a half I've been chasing a grant we just got for $1.3 million.
Troy, I'm gonna ask the question because, and I really know the answer to this, but I think people don't realize that when this grant is written, it gets approved, it doesn't stop there. This employee will be a full-time position because then they have to chase the information all the time.
Turn in
And then
reports.
keep on bringing in more grants.
That's correct.
So I see that it would be an opportunity for Bradley County all the way around, including the road department and every department's here.
I'll say this, we're a 4-man team, and you see that I got all my employees here except for one that's a 20-year employee who will be retiring in August. So we're already short now, needing more help. When he leaves, I don't know what we're gonna do. We may have to have 2 people to help replace him. He's that special.
Well, you have salary to cover, right? When you lose somebody, you still have the money.
Yeah, I've got the money to
So-
hire somebody else.
But to your point, Commissioner Hughes, are you saying, I just want to make sure I understand, and is this can pay for itself?
I think over time.
I mean,
it'll
we don't
pay
have
for
to adjust
itself,
the tax
no.
rate.
If we need to make it to where we'll try it for 3 years, and if they're not paying for themselves, then we can let it ease out, then I'm good with that. But I think we need to put somebody in place to do this for the county, so that we've got every department covered for grants.
And it was,
And that's what I'm understanding from you, is it'll cover every department that we have.
So we do a lot of stuff like for the fire department, the sheriff's department, EMS, and, we could write grants for those departments as well.
Some of them, I think, already have their own grant writer, but I agree that it would be still good to have another one. Because it goes back to what I
Absolutely.
just said. That role is a full-time position. Just chasing the information alone is enough to keep you busy, but then turn in reports and so on, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Commissioner Slater.
So I know when we talked about this position, when we first went over your proposed budget a couple months ago, you said that this position would be writing grants for all of Bradley County.
Yeah, where we find them.
Yeah, so in light of that, does it make more sense if this is a county-wide grant writer, that this position would sit with the mayor's office and not with EMA? Just asking.
Wait,
Well, my thought is when we have a disaster, when we start putting all that together, that is a grant. And those grants take years and a lot of time. And we have always done that out of my office.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
Because what I wouldn't want to happen is we have this grant writer and they only focus on things for you because you're their direct.
We very rarely focus on anything for us. It's always, we're looking for all the other departments.
You want the position to report directly to the mayor?
Just
Just an idea.
Just an idea.
Mayor, we're going to give you another employee. Just kidding.
Do
All right.
what? What'd you say?
It was attempted a joke. It didn't work.
The only bad thing about that is I get an employee I didn't ask for.
I know. I can work for you. All right. So
And
Commissioner
it's
Hughes,
not a
will you-
countywide grant writer. We already have one at schools, we already have one at Sheriff's Department, and we obviously have one somewhere else because we've got a lot of grants
Well,
coming through.
Troy, that's gonna be a key point, is how does, you got 44,000, that's, you know, right? How does this person pay for themselves? Adam, is getting, he convalescent vans, and he brought in money, paid for them, and then some. How does, I mean, keep it simple, how does this person, because the mayor's right, the schools has got, what, 2 grant writers? Oh, I'm definitely one, right? Yeah, they got grant writers, and there's tons of that. And Sheriff, you've got Camille, one, and we got drones flying over because of it. How does this person pay for themselves? That's the question.
Well, you take one grant alone, it's millions of dollars, and,
Well,
you know, I mean,
I mean, pay for their salary. Yeah, so you get $1 million grant, right? And then you go buy $1 million worth of XYZ.
so.
I mean, how does their salary, is what I'm getting at, how does that get paid for?
So what you would look at is, there's percentages that the grant will pay for into writing the grant, managing the grant, putting in all the reports and all that stuff. So that's time that you have to count up and add up, and I don't do that to myself. So a person that would have a job like that would be calculating all that and adding that up.
So you
show that
mentioned,
they
you
pay for
you
themselves.
mentioned that you've gotten grants. Obviously, the FEMA grant for the science wing over at Bradley and all that. Is that how those work? That a certain percentage of the total of the grant, it goes into the administration part
Yeah,
of the
so
grant?
Ms. Presswood filled out the application, and I approved it, and we sent it on to the state,
Where's Cassandra?
and then it came back from the Fed. So we've been pushing this thing for 4 years down the road, trying to get this, land this, and we
Right.
just signed the contract on it and sent it back to the state, waiting on them to execute it.
Sheriff, you don't mind me asking, you have a grant writer. Is that how she, or Dwayne, you probably know too, right? Or Cassandra, how she's gotten multiple grants,
Yeah,
and on those grants, there's a certain percentage that goes towards her.
yeah, well, Cassandra could
Sometimes.
probably answer the percentage toward her best, but let me say, I said grant facilitator. We have like the SRO grant, the 1.275 million that comes from the state every year. We have to do all the reporting. You got to make sure you stay up. The violent crime grant, the drone, everything. Got to make sure that you stay up with them, and that's what. Sandra could probably answer your question better about, do we get any return from those grants? Not from the state grant. I can promise you, not the SRO grant or anything. Do we get any money back? They give us a flat rate. That's what we get, or the violent crime. No administrative anything.
That's a great answer, but I wasn't asking that. How, Commissioner Hughes, what I'm getting at is, do they pay for themselves?
The way I look
Because
at
if they
it,
do, we don't have to touch the tax rate.
well, and the way, I'll be quite honest with you, when I say pay for themselves, I'm talking about the return that you're getting from them. I'm not actually talking about what they're literally paying themselves.
So in other words, I need 44,000
Yes,
Well, plus benefits.
plus
plus
benefits.
benefits, so you're
Yeah,
looking.
and I don't know that every grant has so I,
A fee structure scheduled in.
correct,
in with it.
like,
That's right.
like in the
Administrative.
nonprofit world, when you write a grant, there's a lot of times that the grant can't go toward administrative cost. It has to
right.
go solely for whatever the project is. Correct?
Yeah, you know,
But
yeah.
still, it was a benefit.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not, but I mean, so we're looking at not only, I mean, we're looking at $60-some thousand. That's what we're looking at.
And if you-
Mayor, I know, I'm sorry,
No, please.
there were other people that had additional head count. There's no new head count, is that correct?
Your convalescent vans are gonna have to have them.
Yeah,
Well, they pay for themselves.
That's what we're getting at, yeah.
just remember on the grant writer, I know everybody says it'll pay for itself and all this. You approve the budget increase for that position, you've lowered the fund balance if you don't add pennies.
I
The fund
get
balance
it.
cannot be lowered.
I get it.
You're gonna have to do pennies to cover that fund balance. What, just so it matters, and this person may be here, I've not looked. There's a person really working hard for this job, and I have told them to work with all departments, apply for any grants you want to, and we'll pay your percentage out of the grant. That doesn't affect the budget. So we'll see. But that person's out there and been given the go-ahead to do that. If any department wants to work with this grant writer, she will be paid out of the proceeds from the grant. But like you said, SRO grant is a good example. We don't get admin money.
And so will this person, if we choose to add this position, will they be looking for grants for first responders? Or just, is it strictly gonna be first responder grants that they're looking for?
No, they could do that as well. As long as somebody brings it to them and say, this is kind of a sure thing. If we're out chasing grants that's not.
Well, if somebody's gonna have to bring it to them, then they might as well just write their own grant. I mean, I look at recreation. I mean, if they're gonna have to go spend hours looking for grants and then bring to you all just to write, I mean, what's
Well,
that
I mean, the
benefit?
ideal of whatever, I mean, so that's kind of an open-ended question of how they would go out and look for a grant for, say, Parks and Recs or whatever. I mean, if they say, hey, there's a grant over here, then we could go over there and fill it out, and you still have to chase it. It's a long process.
Troy, if I may ask, I'm imagining it as one kind of way you just described it. In other words, we've got somebody that works looking at grants. Technically, they're hunting for them, but if a department comes to them and says, hey, is there a grant? Can we get a grant for this? Then that kind of heads them in that direction.
Yeah, then,
Parks
I
and
mean, you
Rec's
don't know to
great
look for it.
Great. Go towards it. That's the way I imagine it. And that's kind of the way I understood you describing it as also. And the same as the ambulance service, for example, say that, hey, can you look for a grant here? Well, then they can specify and start looking that direction also.
We bring in a lot of revenue, if you look at that. If we could bring in even more, that would even be better. Even if it's not revenue for EMA, if it's revenue for somebody else to advance.
And I'm
their
sure that
departments.
there would be records showing that, or you'd be able to get back with us and say, hey, we got a grant for this department, that department, and just
Absolutely.
show. So,
Commissioner Alford?
I've always talked about grant writers and so forth, but I'm not sure right now we need to even be discussing it. I would like to get off this subject and get back to our budget. And, but I think it's something valuable that we need to look at, but there's a lot of stipulations that you gotta put in there. What percentage that person's gonna get, how much they're gonna make, and all this. I kinda agree with Ms. Slater that we don't need to look at that at this point in time. I think future-wise, I've said all along, we always need to have a grant writer somewhere, but, I think we need to look at it a lot closer as how we're gonna pay that person, how's that person get refunded, or what budget it comes in. What if he writes a budget for recreation? Is recreation gonna get the percentage that it comes back to, or so forth? I just think we need to study it. I think we need to put it in some other category and bring it back up at a later time. Thank you.
All right. Well, we have a motion and a second still, right? On your original motion, and Commissioner Hughes was bringing that because this is the time to chat about it, so it's proper discussion. So, go ahead.
I was just going, going back to the argument, or not the argument, but the conversation between you and the mayor referencing the road department. I fully
Yeah, I
agree with
see,
the mayor that we need to go ahead and do the include the road department in all employees, and not worry about trying to divide them out. And
Well, I think it's
there's another thing I'd bring up at a later date, not now, but we need to, and then I've always talked with Mr. Cry about it. He's always talked about these fund balances. So I think that's a subject that we need to bring up again at a much later date, because we need to do something ironclad on some of these fund balances. So at this point in time, I would just recommend that we go ahead and do the road department just like we do in all the other employees. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm gonna ask Superintendent Collins to come up, if you would. We've got just a few questions. I appreciate you coming, and Angie as well. You may need her. Commissioner Collins, you have anything? Hey,
Sorry, I'm late. But
No, you're actually,
I guess
you're.
I got the wrong
it's-
information
No,
about
you
time
did.
to be here.
You got the right information. That's on me. I owe you lunch. It'll just be a sandwich. Anyway, so I was looking at your budget request, and then, this morning we basically are going in, the finance committee and hopefully the full commission going in a direction of doing a little bit more than the mayor's proposal with salary increases across the board, and kind of hit on about a 15% increase. So when I was looking at yours, you've done well with your budget. You've done very well, and I think a number of reasons. You used a lot of equipment. We used ARP for a lot of your equipment. You've gotten some things on there that you would normally have to use your funds for. But in there, so I was like, well, if you do an increase, you could use some of your fund balance because you have probably the healthiest fund balance in the entire budget. And but as the mayor is bringing to our attention, and rightfully so, that it may not be fair, and we want to be fair, to make you use your fund balance for increases because you didn't ask for an increase. That makes sense. But I guess my question, with all that said, is, okay, so we calculated what it would take in order to make you whole on the increases with the tax rate adjustment. But you still have that healthy fund balance. And then you look at your budget request. So my question is, what is your intentions short-term, long-term with your fund balance being at where it's at? More paving or more equipment? Just overall, what's your strategy with that fund balance being at 30%? Or is it still at 30%?
21, I think.
And I can't hear you. 21? Okay. So even at 21, and you're only required to have 7. So does that question make sense? Kind of like help us know what you want to do.
Okay. A large fund balance for the road department's not anything that, anybody should get excited about.
Oh.
You got to understand the road department and our work schedule and the budget time. Our budget's due June 31st. Well, that's right in the middle of our work season. So if we go into June 30th with no fund balance, no money, it's cutting into our work time because our work time is from March to November, October at least. That's when we pave, we mow, that's when we spend our money. So we got to have money during those months. So, having a big fund balance don't mean that, we've got excess money that we're not going to use. We're going to use it. Now, I will say this. The commission has been good, very good to the road department the past few years. One of the best commissions I've ever worked with. Y'all have been very generous. Thank you. I was hoping to be able to say that to the whole commission. But, and we've been fortunate. We have truly been blessed over the past 3 years with the TMA money, what y'all have given us for striping, what you've given us to buy a truck with. We've been fortunate not to have to get into our budget as much to create this fund balance. And I hope that you won't punish us for being a conservative road department, which I think we are. You look at our road department, our budget. I'm going to give you an example. In 1998, when I came into office, we were paying $17.94 a ton of asphalt. Now we're paying about $92. But the amount that we're requesting is the same or less. We've always asked for about 1.5 million, 1.4, and that's what we're asking this year, 1.4. I guess if I'm guilty of anything, it's not requesting what we really need.
Exactly.
And that's the truth.
And that's what threw me off a little bit. And so you didn't do anything wrong. Nobody's done anything wrong. But that's where I was like, okay, your business better than anybody. You asked for 1.4 last year. You got it. You asked for 1.4, but you've got a nice savings account. Fund balance is not budgeted. It's not any expense lines. You can't use it. It's just kind of there until it moves over to an expense line, to an amendment. So when you have through your season that you just described, you've got money already in the lines for that, right? I mean, that was the budget that got approved.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of threw me off is either you can use it for salaries increases, and I get you didn't know this, or fill in the blank, something else. And that's kind of where I was at. What do you plan to do with the 30% or now the 21% fund balance? Because it's worth a couple $1 million.
Well,
And I guess what you're saying is, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, is increase the amount that you want. Instead of your 1.4, you definitely can get 1.8 or whatever and pave more roads. If that's it's your decision. You're the road superintendent, but you've got a fund balance. You can definitely do that, and it doesn't require a tax adjustment or anything. You've got a nice savings account. That's basically what we're saying. Mayor, correct me if you feel different. I mean, that's how I see it. You can ask for more in your request, but we can amend it later. We don't have to do that today. But I just wanted you to know why, or what my thinking was, why I was thinking your fund balance could help you with your salaries, because you didn't ask for anything other than 1.4 in the first place. Does that make sense?
That fund balance will disappear over the next few months. You got to understand, when
But
our money comes in,
your budget doesn't say so.
our lion's share of our money comes from property tax and gasoline tax. Well, we get those monthly. Of course, your property tax don't really even start coming in until about October.
Oh, we're going to talk about that here in a second. Yeah.
And gasoline tax, it's probably down a little bit right now. I don't know. Usually if the price goes up, the quantity comes down. So I don't know about that, but we'll use the fund balance.
Okay. That was kind of the gist of it. I mean, I'm not trying to confuse anything. I was just, so everybody knows where I was, or
Right.
I say where I was thinking is, you got a nice healthy savings account. That's what a fund balance kind of is.
Right.
You ask for this amount, you still got a nice, so basically throughout the year, you're going to ask to amend the fund balance into certain lines. You're going to use some of your fund balance in the 26-27 budget, even though that's not what you requested.
But next year, we hope to come back with a healthy fund balance, just like this year.
And that's kind of what Commissioner Alford was saying is some of these fund balances, and it's not just your fund, are getting very, very large. And I think that the commission has a right to say, what are you trying to do? I mean, if you've got a major project that you're doing that's going to eat up your fund balance, fine. But we need to just be on the same page with you with respects to the fund balance. You know, schools has got theirs and all that kind of stuff. So not to beat a dead horse, but that's kind of why we were thinking what we were thinking. Anybody else? Mayor, I mean, Commissioner Alford, that's what you were saying is these fund balances are getting big and we need to talk to it. Mayor?
If I could, before you got here, Tom, I was fairly accurate in your explanation. I explained that your fund balance does fluctuate because the road department's different than anybody else. The reality, you keep talking about the fund balance is projected to go down. It's not, it was 4 million last year, it's 2 million this year, so he's not growing his fund balance, but no matter what that projected fund balance is, it will fluctuate for the road department, I assure you, throughout the year. And the only really discussion, and they didn't disagree, was we don't need to penalize the road department with this salary increase that they're proposing. You're going to have to give the same salary increase, and we should add the pennies to your rate, just like we do everywhere else. So, and I think they've pretty much agreed to that, but that's what caused the discussion. So it's a 2/10 of a penny, I believe, that would be added to the road department with a salary increase.
I was washing my truck and listening to this meeting on my iPhone, and I got a little bit of it about the road department and the raises. You know, of course, we had put 3% in our budget, and as I understand, and I might, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what they're proposing is like maybe 10 or 15% for first responders.
Right now, they're saying 15% across the board, so that would include you.
Okay, that's where I was.
The only
going with
question
this.
is, do we fund it with the pennies or make you fund it with your fund balance? And I think they're agreeing to do it with
We
the
answered
pennies.
that. We went in there and calculated it, and the tax rate will be adjusted. You're not going to have to use your fund balance for the increase in salaries.
Okay.
But I just wanted to know where you wanted to go with your fund balance. It does fluctuate, but it's still healthy.
Right.
I mean, you got a lot of fund balance to pave a lot of roads, and we'll support you 100% on that. Is that right, Mayor?
I 100% agree, except for the part that $2 million won't fund many roads these days with the cost of asphalt.
1.4. I mean,
But
that's what you asked for. That's what you get.
But he will use it. He'll fluctuate it, but he'll also then build it back up before this time next year so that it looks good. I mean, we are and we should be complimenting you on what you've done. And with these kind of raises, your people need it as much as anybody, because you could argue they're first responders. They're the lowest paid people in Bradley County. And we just don't want to penalize your tax rate by doing this. So, end of the day, I think they're doing it right, but I wanted you to be brought up to speed on what the discussion's been about.
And it'll affect you much. Commissioner Slater, please.
Thank you for coming today, Tom. I'm sorry we interrupted the washing of your truck.
No, thank you.
When you submitted your budget back in whenever it was you submitted it, at that time you had 5, I think, open positions. Have you been able to fill any of those positions, or are you looking to fill any of them?
If I'm not mistaken, I think we're full right now.
Okay. Because I think it said you had 2 equipment operators, a bridge truck driver, a bridge laborer, and a sign shop person. So you filled all those, you think?
I'm not sure.
No.
Angie might.
Angie, can you come up real quick? Hey, Angie, did you hear her question?
I did. I think what we did during the year for the sign shop guy, we needed another CDL driver, so we pulled one out of the sign shop into our truck drivers just to fill a truck driver position. Because each year's a little different. Sometimes
Right.
we need more laborers, need more CDL drivers, mowers. So it constantly try to budget it every year, but it does change each time.
Okay. So
I
are you full now?
I think we are fully staffed for what we are doing right now.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Don't go anywhere. Please. So we got a technical question real quick.
Okay.
When we were recalculating, you have an account, where was it, Lori? You have an account we're on, by everybody, I'm on page 111. Give everybody a chance. And if you need to see what we're talking about, well, you know your budget inside and out, right? Everybody there? All right, so your account 91200. So we have the original budget, then you have your budget request, and then there's nothing that came over from you on the mayor put in there. How does that work? Because we don't want to, you got 143, 147, 149, and 187. Why is that zeroed out, or why is that blank?
The 91-200 was originally set up years ago as our bridge account. Most of our bridge stuff comes now from state aid at this point. So, in order, our gasolines went up from, I believe, $2.50 to $4. The same with diesel. Our parts have went up. So since we're not using that bridge money, we had money sitting there. We moved it into all our other lines instead of increasing our budget request.
I see, okay.
Yeah,
Mayor, that
because-
makes sense there. She basically moved it from this account that's
It's
gone, is it going away, or
no,
or wasn't funded?
we just put it in all the other lines. We moved like
Yeah,
diesel to
consolidation.
diesel, equipment, parts, everything that had increased that we were struggling to cover in 63-100 and both 62,000. We moved all that money, including the salaries, because I've had to pull salaries out of that account the last 2 years in budget amendments. So
Right.
hopefully going forward, everything's where it needs to be.
So just to be clear, what is the future of 91200?
Nothing at this point.
You just,
Right now, we have 2 bridges, which are state aid, which are 100% funded, one of which I just added on Monday.
so the follow-up question is the mayor's has blanks right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but he has blanks here.
That's correct.
So the finance committee recommendation is going to be the same.
Yes, because that
Okay.
money's now in the other accounts.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we still have a motion. We have a second to fund across the board 15%. So the next thing we need to chat about, and this is on me. Oh, sorry, you guys can sit down.
Okay.
is with this amount, we got to, everybody knows how property tax works because we all pay property tax. It's a one-time purchase or one-time expenditure, either paid through your mortgage or some who have no mortgage pay once a year. But just because the budget has a certain number in here doesn't necessarily mean that, because you get this, basically, the trustee's office will send out the invoices for property taxes in October. I think October 1, Mayor, that he tries to hit out on that. So in order to kind of do this, at this number, we got to pay attention to the cash flow, not hurt ourselves, so to speak, this county. And I know you care about your county because I heard you care about county. So one of the things that we're going to have to chat about is when do these increases go into effect? We don't get property tax until October 1. So I'm going to ask the members of finance, what are your thoughts on making the effective date of these increases across the board? So we're not singling anybody out. So all funds effective October 1, so that, you know, because right now we're dealing with the tax money that's already came in. We're dealing with future money that's going to come in, and it won't come in until October. It's just an idea in order to protect the cash flows. The mayor talked about that on Monday night, and Mayor, if you want, don't beat me up too much. I mean, but what are your thoughts on that? Because it does help the cash flow, because you've got to get to, or everybody's got to get to September 30th before a new dollar of new property tax comes in. And in order to do this amount, we gotta protect it.
It would definitely help cash flow a lot. And I would hope with the amount you're talking about doing that it would be okay until October the 1st.
And that would, I mean, you get a nice increase, but you kind of have to wait until people start writing property tax checks. That's kind of where we're at. Commissioner Hughes, I really want to know your thoughts, because,
Mr. Chairman,
please.
I'll bring up, if I'm not mistaken, the city done the same thing when they raised tax last time. They raised employees' pay, but they waited until the funds started coming in until October, I believe, before they done
Is
that.
that,
And I believe if anybody knows different than that, or if they're correct, if I'm correct on that, let me know, but best I can remember, it's the exact same thing they done.
well, I'll check, but I mean, yeah, they had the same thing. Their property tax comes in the same cycle as ours. So Commissioner Slater, Commissioner Hughes, Commissioner Alford, Commissioner Collins, and Commissioner Gilbert, you eventually are going to put a vote on this. What are your thoughts on that idea as far as effective dating these increases? I know, Caleb, it puts a little bit more on you. You got to cost account this stuff out, but I think when I was looking at it, you have, obviously, you're bi-weekly, you're every other Friday. That's July, August, September. It's basically, I think, about 6 pay periods. And then your effective date, October 1, you may split a pay period, Commissioner Slater, and you can accrue that or however you want. But in it about 6 pay periods that they would have to be at the current rate and then go into the 15% increase on that pay period where October 1 starts?
Yes.
All right. So that's the idea. Commissioner Alford, you look like you want to say something.
I kind of agree with the mayor. He knows when money comes in. Talking to the trustee, I think most of our money comes in October, November, December anyway. So I would think October 1 would be adequate, and I would hope our employees with that kind of raise coming to most of them, all of them actually, they could wait a few pay periods until we get the raise and get the money. I hope they understand that we got to deal with cash flow ourselves too, just like you do cash flow with your house budgets. So I would hope that they'd be okay with that. I would say that what the mayor says, October 1 would be adequate with me.
Thank you, Commissioner Alford. Commissioner Slater.
So could we do the 3 and the 6% July 1st and do the balance October 1st?
We can. I didn't know. Caleb,
Money's
you and
there for it.
your payroll department have to then do an increase on July 1,
You know,
and then
26 years later, I still got one payroll clerk.
I didn't wanna work her too hard.
But whatever you say, we'll try.
It would
I
be-
just ask a question,
You oughta
Mayor.
add, somebody in the audience said you oughta add them, yeah.
Well, if you guys see the eyes.
I just ask a question, Mayor.
If you're going with 15, surely to God you can wait and do it all at once,
I-
but
So-
whatever.
It's just a question.
Thank you for your question. You got an answer. All right, so do you want to include that in your motion, Commissioner? And you seconded, Commissioner. Well, let me see if Commissioner Slater's good with the adjustment to the motion.
The effective date.
Yes.
Okay, Chairman Cry, please.
I think we're punishing the employees of the county. The budget is passed June the 31st, July the 1st. They should be right along with everybody else. I got elected, as several of us did 12 years ago, and we didn't have enough money to make this pay. We had to borrow the money. And we finally got this thing straightened out to the point that where we could cover our own way. And I think we need to look out for the workers of Bradley County. I'm for starting the pay increase personally, 1st of July.
Thank you. All right, so we have a motion with the new tax rate, and we have, that's been adjusted to, this is gonna be effective October 1. Caleb, do you have the numbers you need? Okay, Mayor, because I'm gonna send it to a vote here in a second. So we got,
And your motion's gonna include what, how many cents?
were you giving track? 7.3.
Or it was 7.1. You added roughly a penny for fee offices. That's 8.1.
8.3 then.
Okay, 8.3. And then you added 0.2 for roads, 0.2 for part-time. I got 8.71, 8.1, 8.3, 8.5.
I didn't add for part-time.
So 8.5, I think, is the correct number.
That's the correct number. Thank you. All right, any further discussion? Commissioner Hughes, please.
I'm gonna reiterate one thing, and it goes back to the grant writer. I really do believe that's something we need. You're looking at 0.12% of a penny to cover that position. Whether that falls under the mayor, as Cindy's wanting, or Troy, I think we need a county grant writer. I really believe that. So we're talking about 0.12% of a penny. So, I mean, this is up to you guys. I'm just one person.
Troy, you said that someone's gonna retire in August. I'm trying to meet him halfway. I mean, when you bring this person on, well, the person, you're gonna fill the position with.
So the
what-
person that's retiring, I'll have to pay their vacation out to September, I think 17th.
So, but like Commissioner Alford said, there's a lot of details to this, and Commissioner Hughes, I mean, we will, Lloyd, can you put this on the September Finance Committee meeting to visit this? We're gonna have to, because Commissioner Alford makes some point, like, how is it gonna be distributed, how's it gonna be managed, and all that kind of stuff. I'm with you, Commissioner Hughes, but we gotta iron some things out, like Commissioner Alford said.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be honest with you. I understand where we're at on it as far as talking about. I just want to make the point that I think it's something this county definitely needs. Now, whether we do it now or later, I'm all right with.
Yeah, well,
I'll just be honest with you. I'm okay with it. I just want to make sure that people
Yeah.
look at it and say, you know, we really do need to start looking at this.
Right, and Troy, we'll ask you to come here in August, and we'll sit down and really crunch some numbers.
All right.
I hate to throw you under the bus today. Well,
Thanks for the consideration.
Yeah. Cindy? I'm sorry, not Cindy, Commissioner Slater.
Thank you. So I have one more question related to moving the pay increases to October 1st, since you don't really like the idea of doing the 3 and 6 July 1st. Will the, and I probably already know the answer to this, I just want to ask so I can see the mayor look at me again. Will the October 1st pay increases be retroactive back to July 1st? No?
I wasn't thinking.
Okay.
15%, I mean.
I'm just asking.
The answer to that was no. Because you would have to we'd have to go back and readjust, and I know I'm getting into the numbers, and I live there, but it's almost like this. I'll just say it so everybody, because we have a nice lot of Olympia. If you, if you want to do back to July 1, you almost have to come down a point or two. So in other words, will you take like 11-12% increase in July 1, or would you take 15 in October, but you don't get to go back because you don't have the money? All right. All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion on this? Mayor, you have your numbers, are you good? I know like really good.
Not good
Not
with
that
them, but
kinda
I think
good, but
they're
good.
accurate.
And then we gotta get.
My understanding
we gotta
is
get
first payroll in October, and you're paid through that date, so it actually would have started September the 28th. Follow me? So September the 28th when it kicks in for that first payroll in October. Is that everybody's understanding?
If that's how your system works, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're on the same page there.
I mean, because
And your motion is
our system.
all employees, those over 75, 12%, all
That's
others.
how, the whole 75 thing didn't take.
Oh, the 75 is not there? So
No.
now it's all employees,
Am I right,
15%.
Commissioner Slater? I thought,
No, I
I
thought it
thought-
was,
was it good? Was that part of your motion, Commissioner Alford?
What was that?
I thought it
There's a
stayed.
quiz at the end.
Yeah, I thought we talked about that earlier.
My bad, I stand corrected.
Okay.
Imagine that.
I just want to make sure we have it right. All employees, those over 75 get 12%.
And you guys are wondering, aren't you?
All others get 15%. That does include roads with the pennies, does include fee offices, does include part-time. It's effective with first payroll in October, which actually starts 9/28. Is
Is that your motion?
Yeah.
Is that your second?
The only comment I would have, I'd hope the department heads would work with us on that. We don't want somebody that's below that when they get their percentage, they're going to jump over a guy that's been there 70, making over 75. If you're down at 60s or something that moves you above that person, I think the department heads need to take a look at that and make sure that doesn't happen. I believe that'd help a lot.
And then the rest of that motion is equals 8.5 cents. Right?
Yep.
I'll make sure y'all are on the same page. Thank you.
And that is a 15% across the board increase for Bradley County employees. All right, do I have
Is it everyone or is it 12% over 75?
It's
It's 12% over 75, 15% off for all others.
Shut up right now.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it didn't take, and apparently it did. I was just making sure you were paying attention. You passed.
I
You got it?
think we're okay. I hope that tax rate's right. It's got to be really close because that fund balance is too low. It's talking about cash flow earlier.
Well, I think
next
that
year you'll
helps
start
out.
having cash flow issues again because the snowballing of the salaries, the 3%, for example, costs 600,000 now. It'll cost over $1 million next year just
Yeah.
for a 3%. So you start having issues like that. But nothing negative toward what you're doing today. Just heads up for next year. Those of you that
Yeah.
are those
But
of us
you
that
have-
are still around.
Right, but you have 6 pay periods that are going to be at the current rate. So
Yeah, I think there's actually the 7, and that
Okay, I
7th
didn't-
one.
I was gonna-
I was trying to count it on my phone real quick, and I lost count.
yeah,
so
I
I'm
don't
not sure.
know your pay periods. When your beginning pay period and your ending pay period. You have 26 pay periods in a year. That I do know. So you're losing about 4 or 5. Yeah, go ahead.
That will affect your 3.6 number. If you're leaving out 6 checks, 3.6 will be for the whole year. So
That's,
you're gonna
that's
lower
fine.
that.
That's fine. That's fine. All right. So we have a motion. We have a second. I'm ready to vote. Aren't you guys? You good? Call the question. All right. We're waiting for Commissioner Collins to say something. Commissioner Alford.
Just a question for the mayor. I don't want to muddy the water too much, but I know we've done it in the past, taxing anticipation, borrowing, anticipating tax money coming in. Could we do that and move everything up a little, or do you think we'd be smart to stay where we're at?
Well, I don't want to borrow if I don't have to. What he's referring to is a few years ago, we didn't have adequate fund balance. In order to get to revenues arriving, we had to do tax. But there's a cost to that. It makes us look very like we don't plan ahead because we don't have enough to do payroll. I don't want to go back there if we don't have to. We're getting so close in fund balance this year that we may, in the next year or two, have to if we don't watch it. But I would suggest not doing that. That's
Yeah.
just more borrowing, in my opinion.
That's fine. If you're October, fine. Just an idea. Hear you explain it. Thank you.
All right. So ready, guys? You ready to vote on this? Commissioner Alford's, motion. So, you got it all written down, Lori? Caleb's got it, and I'm gonna ask you to read it, and then I'm gonna call for a vote. I wanna make sure this is right. We got millions of people watching.
So we're doing 15% except for everybody over 75,000. They'll be at 12,
Mm-hmm.
starting October 1st.
Thank you. Yep.
First payroll in October.
First payroll in October. And it'll be 8.5 cents overall increase.
Yep, because we got fire coming up, yeah.
That's what I got.
Yep. And was there anything else? That's it. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
Mr. Chairman, I have to read this before I vote.
Please.
Because I'm an employee of Bradley County, I have a conflict of interest in the proposal about to be voted. However, I declare that my argument and my vote answer only to my conscience and to my obligations to my constituents and the citizens this body represents. Yes.
Your vote is yes? That makes it 5-0. The motion passes. All right, so that takes care of that. Now we have to do fire because they are their own tax rate. Please, you want to take a break?
Before we take a break, I'd like to have Sheriff Lawson come up. I promised him a minute if he'd like to speak to us.
And I'll extend the same invitation to the other Gayla after Sheriff Lawson if you want to say anything. And yeah, well, we hadn't got to him yet. And then Tom, Sheriff,
I'll just say,
thank you for all your patience.
No, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the mayor, y'all, and we've done some good things in my 2 terms as sheriff. Y'all have worked with me well. The building you gave me money, and as the mayor knows, even from our money, we put a roof on the jail, replaced all the AC units, put in new hot water heater system. We did a lot of work with y'all. I turned in, and I presented you early a pay plan for the officers and compared it to other agencies around us. Does this get us there? No, it doesn't, but it gets us close. So I think I compliment y'all in doing this, and nothing's perfect in this world, but we worked hard, and I appreciate what you've done in standing up. And I believe not only did you stand up for first responders, you've stood up for all the other employees, which is a big thing to me, and I think we had to get better overall, and I appreciate you much, and I'll be here to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Gail, if you want to say anything, you're more than welcome, because it's good to see you.
First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you very much. My office, I don't have a slush fund. I don't have anything, so we don't ask for anything. But my employees, from my heart and my employees, thank you, because at this time, I'm just going to say it, the starting pay for my office is $25,000 a year. I left as a deputy clerk 20 years ago, making $28,000, and the base pay now is $25,000. So this is going to bring my employees up to maybe out of the poverty level. Let's put it that way. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your consideration, and thank you, and first responders and the county employees. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Gayla. Is there any other elected officials? Oh, I don't see any. Tom, did you? I don't want to leave you out. Our fellow elected officials.
I want to just reiterate what the sheriff and Gayla said. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You've helping our employees this way. They certainly deserve it. Our guys and girls, they mean a lot to me and the people of Bradley County. I know a lot of people don't consider how dangerous the road work is. We were talking here a few weeks ago, and I know at that time they were talking about firemen. And trust me, if you gave the firemen a 50% raise, you'd never hear me complain. Not whatsoever. But I was kind of in a joking manner. I told one of the office ladies, I said, I believe what our guys does is about as dangerous. So she Googled it. And the list of employees, as far as their jobs being dangerous, the road workers were actually above it, above the firemen, as far as danger goes. So it didn't really surprise me, but I knew what our guys do are dangerous. But anyway, I just want to thank you for including all employees. That's big. That's big for me. That's big for all the employees. They're certainly going to appreciate it. And I'm certain you're going to hear from them. But thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Superintendent Collins. Good to see you.
Chairman,
Sir,
before we break, can I ask a question? I know that for the people that live out there and, it's not working for the county and so on, their main question is going to be, how's this going to affect me? So have you got those numbers by any chance so that you could tell them what that
yes.
8.5 cents would actually cost?
Yeah, we do have that. Lori, I'm going to ask you to.
We do, Chairman. On a $350,000 home, which is the average home price in Bradley County, for 8.5 cents, their annual increase will be $73.79.
$73 and some odd cents a year.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
But you're not through yet. Some of us live outside the city. You're not through yet.
We're not through yet. But that answers your question?
Yes.
At the county-wide, whatever. Yeah. All right. We're not going to take a break. So we're going to pile on into the road department. Jeff, we probably do need a break. Fire department. So when we calculated them, also a 15% increase is, I think, what Commissioner offered. Your 15% is also including for fire, all employees, right? So in order to do that on the tax rate with their amounts, remember there's two. And before we get to that, though, Mayor, you said you would like to see or consideration of consolidating the rates. We can't consolidate the districts, but consolidate the rates. Is that? I just want,
Ideally, yes. I don't know if Caleb can calculate that here or not. When you first did this, you made the rate the same. Once we became countywide and provided a Class 3 fire protection for all the county, you did away with fringe area and non-fringe area and made it the same. We didn't technically change, it stayed 2 districts technically, but you made the rate the same. And like he said earlier, because of appraisal growth, the rates have changed. You actually pay a higher rate. Terry Kaywood's a good example. He lives at the Meigs County or Hamilton, whatever line that is, and he pays a higher rate than I do where I live. That wasn't your intentions when you set it up. It's just happened because of appraisals. So ideally, it would be the same rate. That's totally up to you. But when you do that, then some people are getting a larger rate increase. Follow me? To get it back to level. But your intention about 6 or 8 years ago was for it to be the same.
yeah, and I think next year we're going to try to consolidate those districts so that we can set one rate and we never have to worry about
The reason that never
appraisals.
has been done is consolidating the districts is a lot more complicated, a little bit costly and those kinds of things. But
Yeah.
if you consolidate or levelize the rate, then that would take care of it until you can get that
recalculate.
done next year if you want to.
All right, so we're going to take a 5-minute break and let Caleb recalculate so we can, because I think that's a good suggestion. No pressure, Caleb.
Mhm.
But go ahead. You got the new rate with what the mayor is asking?
It would
Because
take,
I did it with the two rates.
I don't know about as far as the increase, to level them out, it would take 2.26 cents.
266,
2.26.
2.26.
Well, how much, let me ask it this way, how much are the two rates to provide the 15% salary increase? What are those two rates, Mylan?
What are the two rates? You had the fringe and you had the urban, is that what they call
Yeah,
it?
the fringe is 21 cents,
Okay,
and then the other one's 24 cents.
0.24, the outside,
Yeah.
right.
So if you approve the 21 and 24 with a motion for us to levelize it, we're going to end up with a 22 or something like that. But the 21 and 24 is in essence what you're doing. After that 5 minutes, if you just work on the 21 and 24. If it's 21 and 24 to do what they're wanting to do, what would it be if it was all the same rate? Is that simplifying the question? And I'll let you come up with the answer, because I could be wrong. I'll be ballpark, but I could be wrong. That's your intention, right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on on that. So, Caleb, take 5-10 minutes, and we're going to take a 5-minute break and let you do that calculation and come up with that one rate. All right, this committee is in recess.
That's a crystal.
Yeah, let's. All right, thank you guys. We only lost half the room. Just kidding. Where's my book? Oh, right here. So, Mayor, I agree with you. We're back on. We're talking about fire. That those rates and on that same topic, we're committed. I know I'll say I, but I think the full commitment is to consolidate those districts at the right time. When I talked to Crystal about that, there's just some logistical things that have to be done on that, but I don't think that affects the ISO, Jeff. We consolidate those districts. That doesn't, and you got ISO coming up here pretty soon, right? Yeah. So, Mayor, so just so you know, that way we don't have to do this or we'll just have one rate. We'll have the full county and then one fire. All right. Caleb, I'm just gonna ask you to tell me what you calculated and we'll go with that.
So right now you're at, one rate's 21 cents,
The-
one rate's 24 cents.
Right, so let's, the first rate you just said is what's considered the fringe around the city, right? And then you get outside of that, that's the urban?
Yeah.
Okay,
So what I would suggest doing, since the fringe rate is worth more per penny, to
Right.
raise it up to the 24 cents to match them.
right,
And then you'll have to raise both rates an additional cent and a half to get what's required for 15%.
right. Does everybody understand that?
They'll go both to 25 and a half essentially.
Yeah.
So fringe area is going from 21 to 25.5. Non-fringe is going from 24 to 25.5. So your people in the fringe area will be getting 8.5 plus 2.5, that's 11. Your people in the non-fringe area will be getting 8.5 plus 1.5. 8.5, that's 9, that's 10.
Thank you, Kayla, I appreciate you doing that on it.
That makes sense.
All right,
But you want them to, it's the right thing. It's the right thing to do to make them the same.
In my opinion, I should pay at least the same rate as the non-fringe because I'm closer. Fringe area really doesn't exist anymore except in this tax thing. The firemen don't see it, and there's nothing out there that goes by the fringe area. Fringe area is technically 5 miles from a paid station. Not important anymore because we provide the class 3 for everybody. But they're still farther away.
Correct.
Yeah, Terry Kaywood does not get the same level of protection I get. He gets a class 3.
Right.
That's a good thing, but it's going to take him a lot longer to
To
get
get
to his
there.
house. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
all right, everybody understand where we're at, and, I'll need a motion and a second here, with those numbers. Do I have a motion to? Who would
Mr.
like,
Chairman, I'll make that motion, set that at 25.5
Caleb or Laura, you got that, what, Commissioner
for
Hughes?
both.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, do I have a second on the motion? Do I have a second? I have a second from Commissioner Alford. And just to include that in the motion, Commissioner Hughes and Commissioner Alford, this is gonna also be effective October 1, because you have same cash flow issue. It's property tax, right? In order to get that amount. So any other pieces in there? Commissioner Slater, please.
I know part of what Jeff had presented earlier included a step plan. So the 15%, this is just the flat rate and not the step, is that correct?
I believe that's correct, right? I mean, this is far exceeds your step plan, I believe, when we looked at that. That's correct, Commissioner Slater.
So give me an example where it far exceeds the step. I mean, does it far exceed the step?
I think the step plan when, was, what, I'm looking at Caleb when we looked at it, I say we, it wasn't, that was about a week ago. It wasn't 15%, I know that.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm gonna have to get back to you, Commissioner Slater, I apologize. But when we looked at your step plan, you had how many years of service and your ranks and all that kind of stuff, and then you looked at everybody who had those ranks and then their hire date, it wasn't this amount. But I'll have to get back to you, and if that's a condition on your motion, I understand. I apologize.
Well, I just want to understand the full impact.
Yeah, and I'll get that to you. I just, while we're in discussion, Jeff, I would like to ask you, because I don't know if you heard it. I'm sorry, it's Chief Stewart.
I couldn't think of his last name.
I deserve that. So you saw when we were talking about the ARP money, you're getting some equipment on that, and that was in your budget request. Like the mayor said, that fulfills like they call it what, brush truck 2 on that. I mean, so I guess my question, or just ask for your comment on all that equipment that you're getting. You're going to be able to purchase that because this is ARP money. I'm not sure you and the mayor talked about it, just so we all know. that money has to be spent and the goods and services have to be in our possession by the end of the year. I just want to make sure you're,
Yes, yes,
okay.
yes. Me and the mayor had spoke about that.
So in other words, those things are kind of already ordered. All right,
Mr. Chairman,
please, I'm sorry.
I'm probably help you out a little bit on that, step plan as far as what Chief and them sent in. Their starting pay that they were asking for was 45,000, and that was pretty much on by all three of the options. According to Adam, since the mayor gave them a raise recently, that raised them up to about 42. If you add 15% on that, that means their starting pay is 48.3.
Okay.
So they're starting above what they were even requesting on their plan.
Yeah, when we looked, I say we, when I looked at it, it was that. So,
It doesn't address the issue they have, the reason they request a step. It doesn't address that, the discrepancy between positions. But the hope is, with a 15% raise, everyone will still be happy. I don't know if that's true or not, but hopefully they will be.
all right, we have a motion and we have a second. And we have the motion for the minutes and all that kind of stuff. All right. We'll go to a vote.
So I just, before we vote, I'm gonna reserve the right to come back and talk about this step as we go through it. I mean, I've got what his step was, and I just wanna fully understand it better. I support what we're doing, but I may come back and wanna have some.
We got plenty of time.
No, I don't have time to figure it and cipher it here right now. So I may have some more questions, but I support what we're doing right now.
Okay. All right. We're going to a vote. All those in favor of the motion indicate by aye.
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 Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. All right. That handles that part. Now, you guys are really gonna like it. We can go through each account line by line. Just but I will say this: if there are any accounts and lines that you want to bring to our attention, because I have my famous one coming up, this is the time to do it. Normally, what we do at this is we go page by page, line by line, but we've done a lot of work today. But I'm going to just look around. Commissioner Slater, Commissioner Hughes, Commissioner Alford, Commissioner Collins. Are there any accounts and any lines and any funds that you, because the mayor, you made some adjustments because I saw that you looked at the POs that were open here in the last month or two, and I'm just going to go with your recommendation on those. We talked a little bit about those, but.
Well, a lot of it's a guess, of course. They were requesting extra money because we're cutting POs off at, they said 6 months, we're cutting them off at 3 months. So they asked for additional. I went somewhere in the middle on them usually. It's guess, but you understand what we're talking about with the POs. They're cut off today at 6 months. Last year at 6 months. This year they're cut off at 3 months. Next year they're cut off at no months. You cannot carry POs over unless it's an ongoing project. And that's all coming from the auditors. But because of losing that ability to PO all that money, they've requested more money. And I think, and it mainly involves Sheriff's Department, but they were requesting increases because of losing those POs that they've used to balance their budget each year, which I understand. By carrying them over 3 months, they still got some of that, but not as much as they had originally thought. And so I cut the 6 months request back to roughly half and put it in there. It's still a guess, but I think most of them understand that, and I think it'll end up being fairly close, but who knows? A lot of them have been dependent on old POs, getting them through the year. They'll use that PO and they won't start using the new budget till, say, October. And then therefore, they have money at the end of that year and they carry over again. You follow me? We're trying to get them on back now gradually to a funded as you go per year. You're not carrying it over. And that's the way it should be, but it's hard to get there because they've been so dependent on it. But to answer your question, that's what we've done in the proposal is every time that was, well, since I can't carry over my POs for 6 months, I'm asking for 100,000 more. Well, no, you're carrying it over for 3 months, so you're getting 50,000 more. That's pretty much how I responded usually. in those, but it's not scientific.
No, but it's reflected in your proposal.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm good with that. I'm gonna just look around, Commissioner Hughes, Commissioner Alford, Commissioner Collins, and Commissioner Slater on that. Because that was, because you had some purchase orders that went all the way back to 2025 that's past that deadline, but you've taken that all into consideration, so. All right. That should, where's the agenda, Lori? That handles item B, and now we'll go into other business. Is there any other business?
And can I ask a question, if no one has any? I'll put this on those two. 8.5 cents plus your total, if you live in the fringe area, your total fire tax is how much?
4.5 cents.
So 8.5 plus 4.5. So fringe area person gets a 13-cent tax increase. Since you used the 8.5 one while ago, if I have a $350,000 house, how much do my taxes go up with a 13 point? 13 cents. $113. If I live in the rural area of the county, my taxes are going up 8.5 plus 1.5, which is 10 cents. How much on a $350,000 house? $80 what? Okay. So 73 in the city, 86 in the rural area, and 113 in the fringe area. Now, we've got to make, Caleb, and he doesn't get overtime, he's not considered emergency, but he will probably be working today and tomorrow to get these changes because your calendar says I got to get them to you Monday. So he will do his best to get all the changes made. We'll have you new versions Monday because you're supposed to present to the full commission the recommendation. So by moving finance till today, we don't have, except weekends, to get that done. So we'll try to have those for you Monday morning and go from there, okay?
Thank you, Mayor. So item 7, communication from the audience. The chairperson will recognize and allow up to 5 minutes for anyone wishing to speak. Speakers must speak into the microphone, identify themselves for the record, and address their concerns to the committee as a whole. Is there anyone who would like to address the committee? Please, Chief, yes. I'm gonna take the chairman's prerogative and not hold you to 5 minutes. How's that?
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you. I know some of this was hard decisions, and I still got a ways to go. So again, just as the sheriff and road superintendent said, I just want to say thank you, and thank you for Mayor for working with me these last few months with equipment and things I need to get done, and I really, really appreciate that very, very much.
Chief,
Yes,
on June the 26th, when it's official, get that equipment ordered because we've got to get it in here and get it paid for and delivered. It's nearly all ARP, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, if there's no one else, going once, going twice, very good. That concludes anything else? Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Alford, Commissioner Hughes, Chairman Cry, Commissioner Slater, anything? If not, then we are adjourned. Thank you very much, and thank you, Lori, for all your work this week.